Hello, everyone. How are you doing on this wonderful Thursday? I'm Malik. Guys, it is day 2 of week 3 of stage 3 here at the Overwatch League, and we already got this week cracking with a crazy matchup yesterday. We had the Battle of LA here at the Blizzard Arena. It's the loudest I've ever heard this place in my life. It was crazy. And today is going to be no different. Later on today, we have a rematch of our stage 2 title match between the Philadelphia Fusion and the NYXL. That match is going to be crazy. But we're kicking off today with a good one between the Florida Mayhem and the Houston Outlaws. Now, the last time these two teams faced off against each other, the Florida Mayhem, they went up 2-0, and then Houston brought it all the way back and reverse swept them. So the Florida Mayhem, they're on a quest for revenge today. They didn't have Awesome Guy and Side player in the lineup last time, so they're gonna get that one back with the new players in the lineup today. Yo, Blizzard Arena, are you guys ready to get this day started? If you do, let me hear you. They sound ready, so why don't we go ahead and, as per usual, get this payload moving.
Back for another day here at the Overwatch League. We got some great matches in store for you. I'm Golden Boy, your host today. Puckett, of course, taking a nice vacation over in the mountains, shirtless. It's a great time. He's having a blast. Joining me here on the desk, we got Sideshow and Reinforce. You guys may notice something a little different on the desk today. Johnny got a haircut. That's right, Johnny. You look so handsome.
You look beautiful. It's so fresh and
you
trim.
just look like a young Freddie Prinze Jr.
I hate
you know, and that's just
look at the cast.
Yes, yeah. you don't have your cast anymore. You're not held down by the man anymore.
No, I now have the power fist. This delightful brace.
Yes.
Because
the
clearly,
Doom Fist. Yeah, it's like if Doomfist was like a scrawny British kid who had absolutely no muscle at all. That's what you look like.
That's what I look like. But that doesn't matter. You know, anyone who puts the fist on gains the powers. It's just a magical fist. So you never know. I could be a superhero too, and you can too. The world could always use more heroes.
Don't lie to them. Don't lie. Don't lie. Not from you. From me, you can always be anything you want to be. But don't listen to Sideshow and Reinforce. Not happening. Anyway, let's move on to the schedule here. Enough of the shenanigans for today. So later on, we're going to have the Boston Uprising versus the London Spitfire. Then the Philadelphia Fusion take on the NYXL. But our first matchup of the day will be the Houston Outlaws and the Florida Mayhem. And taking a look here at the overall standings, Houston still in the running. They are out of the top 6. They need to pick it up, but they're sitting with a 13-11 record. So not bad, right? They have the opportunity to come back into this one. I mean, listen, I think we all know that Houston, coming into this matchup, they are the favorites, but they have struggled in this stage. And Florida, despite being winless, have started to pick up steam with this new roster. So the person who likes to motivate everyone and tell them all the nice things in the world, why don't you break it down for us, bud?
Yeah, Florida Mayhem, I think, are looking better right now. But when you look at the Houston Outlaws and the teams that they've faced so far, they've hit the top 4 teams in the season, or this stage at least, already. And they got a win over the London Spitfire, 3 kind of really close losses. The Boston Uprising one, not so much. They kind of got counter-stratted. But Philadelphia Fusion and NYXL bringing them both to 5 games. And so when they look forwards at the rest of this stage, they actually still have a reasonable chance of being able to make the stage playoffs. They can still go 7-3 across this entire stage and have a good shot at those playoffs. So every win matters right now.
I mean, those matches are really tough as well. It's Philadelphia and New York, and you're losing map 5. I mean, you will feel bad, but you shouldn't really feel bad about it. So they have really stepped up, specifically Linkser on the Tracer role. I think in Stage 2, they kind of struggle with their Tracer play. But overall, with Linkser more on the Tracer, they've sort of stepped it up. Jake tweeted out yesterday as well that he's sort of getting more comfortable on the roles. Overall, this is a Houston Outlaws team that is definitely improving. And despite not really getting the wins so far at this stage, as you said, they could definitely make the stage playoffs. And
this was something that we were focusing on a lot at the beginning of the season, was that they don't really seem to have a Tracer player. They like to keep Jake in the roster because he's so good at communication and calling. And now Linkser appears to be kind of stepping into that role alongside Jake. And they're both making big improvements at it, I would say.
Yeah, it has been rather impressive to see them kind of like hit this little bit of a slump, right? Houston Outlaws, and then start to kind of go back into upswing. Both of these teams really in this position here. But I do know as well that you know, we do have some potential for some great Widowmaker action.
We do. We were talking about Linkster and Tracer there, but Linkster and Widowmaker is, or gets touted as the best counter sniper in the league. I don't know whether he would be quite up there for my personal ranking.
The numbers are there.
But the numbers are definitely there. And
Johnny
Sire
cares
player,
about the numbers.
having just joined this Florida Mayhem roster, is really making a huge impact for the team. Linkster and Sire player going head-to-head. I don't know who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because Florida, they talk about Saya player as the most creative Widow, and it makes it hard to play against Saya player. So Linkster definitely needs to be on top of his game for this duel specifically. We can take a look at the stats.
And you can see here, when they talk about Saya player as the more creative Widow, he's being able to flank. He's got more solo kills per 10 minutes.
Just look at the KD against Widowmakers.
Yeah, and he's
it's ridiculous.
Out-sniping Widows incredibly. He's doing a really good job there in the few matches that he's played. Smaller sample size, obviously, for Saya player, I think, because he was only fielded in a couple of games, whereas Lynx has played a little more in Stage 3. But the overall impact of both of these guys cannot be denied. They are both playing really well.
Yeah, and when you put so much star power onto Linkster, you need him to shine. If you shut him down with Saya player, that opens it up for Florida.
Yeah, and then speaking of Florida, though, they are experimenting with some new combinations.
They are.
Johnny. They're bringing out some new looks for us.
Especially, we didn't see Logix having any play last week. Will we see him this week? We don't really know. But Tvick and Saya player is in the starting lineup once again today. Tvick for his Genji and his Junkrat play specifically. He will flex to the Tracer if Saya player is stuck on the Widowmaker. But I think we should look at Saya player as more of a hit scan type of role, and then we have Tvick more on the projectile heroes, more like the Junkrat and the Genji. And you need those heroes on pretty much all of these maps in the pool for the high ground specifically. So I think the Florida Mayhem, they have two very good DPS players here for a very good duo.
And I think as well that we're kind of thinking, why aren't they running Logix in some of these situations when Tvick's on the Tracer? But Tvick is such a leadership figure for this team, I think, that they enjoy the fact that he's able there to call and sync things up with Awesome Guy and Saya player.
Yeah, I'm pumped for this matchup. It's going to be a good game.
Me too,
Pretty
Golden
fun.
Boy.
Yeah,
I'm
right?
also pumped.
Yeah, because you never know, right? Like, I mean, this could be Florida Mayhem having a massive upset here. Meanwhile, Houston continues on this trajectory of improvement, and we continue to see them really, I guess, come into their own here. So, I mean, I think we should just go ahead and bring out the team.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready. I'm ready to
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
I'm sure the Blizzard Arena is ready to go as well. So let's welcome to the stage your first team. It is none other than the Houston Outlaws. 13-11 overall, and 1-3 in Stage 3. The Houston Outlaws, certainly a fan favorite here as we were setting up. As soon as anyone came out, they were cheering for them.
I mean, the fans in the crowd, they're always here cheering for the Houston Outlaws in the front row. And looking at the squad today, we're going to see Mooma in the starting lineup instead of Fact Fiction. We've seen Fact Fiction with some play on some maps where it's more team-oriented, as you would put it, Josh.
Yeah.
But Mooma, more of a flanking Winston, maybe sets up the dives for this matchup.
And what you've got to look is they normally run Fact Fiction when they're playing Volskaya early on in these games. And actually, we've got Anubis coming up as our first map. Now, Houston Outlaws typically are pretty good at Anubis. Jake on Junkrat, big potential. But they are 0-2 on it so far this stage. So something isn't quite going right. They're not able to set up their dives properly. The offense hasn't looked as good. So this is a potential weak point early on for Houston that they need to shore up.
Well, Florida got full held on Anubis last time around. So it's a strength for neither team. But it's going to deliver a pretty good matchup.
I think so,
could say, if so, yeah.
Yeah, well, here is the lineup. Everyone's ready to go and looking forward to seeing what this combination of players can bring to the table here. But now, let's bring out their opponents on the other side of the stage. Put your hands together for the Florida Mayhem. Florida currently sitting at 4-20, wink, wink, overall in the stage. They're 0-4 in Stage 3 sideshow. This team, though, like I said before, making some improvements.
They are making improvements, but I sat down with the players a couple of times and had a couple of chats to them. You know, I was saying, it's really good that you guys look like you're improving. Saya player, an awesome guy being integrated to the lineup. The players, the coach, they looked at me, they said, yeah, but we're not getting wins at the moment. So they're really focused on getting those wins, actually getting the results on the board that they feel like their hard work is leading them towards. But so far, they're always just an inch away from being able to get it.
That's a pretty interesting mindset as well, because when we think of Florida Mayhem, it's a team that has struggled, but they're always positive about the future, of course. So hearing them say we're not getting the wins, even though they are improving, it's kind of shocking to me. Maybe there's a change here in mindset. moving forward. I'd like to see them be a bit more positive. We are improving. It's just a matter of time before we finally get that win. And maybe today is the day.
Yeah, I mean, we always harp on the talent that this roster has. I mean, Reinforce, you're very familiar with this team. You talk about it every time that, you know, this team takes the stage here. The skill, the talent is certainly there. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, it's just a team synergy issue now. You brought in an awesome guy and Saya player. You just need to sync up the dives. So I think this Florida Mayhem squad, they'll sort it out. The individual skill is definitely there.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this matchup to see how this one plays out. Folks, Blizzard Arena, I need some energy, I need some love, because we're going to get into our first match of the day. Florida Mayhem, Houston Outlaws. Let's send it over to your casters, Monty and Doa.
That's right. Thank you, Golden Boy. It's time to get things started with the Houston Outlaws taking on the Florida Mayhem. Going to Temple of Anubis first. I'm excited about this one, man. It's been really fun to watch Florida over this stage kind of evolve into this new team that they're becoming.
Yeah, and as the desk touched on too, they played, the Houston Outlaws have played most of their tough opponents, so now we get to see them play a team that most people think that they should beat. Definitely a heavy favorite coming in, but with Florida's improvements, it's also going to be a good measuring stick about how good they are against some of the top teams in this league, particularly because they almost reverse swept Boston. This stage. So there's been a lot of life within the Florida Mayhem since the addition of their new players, and things are looking like they are on the up and up.
Well, even in the last time that Florida and Houston met in the Overwatch League in Stage 2, they went to map 5, and it was only on Ilios at the very end that Houston was able to take it. Ilios in the map pool again, as you can see today, along with our other 4. We're going to start things out, like we mentioned, on Temple of Anubis. Now, last time we saw these guys play, Houston, we saw them against New York. They actually started Fact Fiction on Volskaya on that assault map, but they're going with Muma this time around on Anubis.
Yeah, and I'm also really interested to see which of these Widowmakers is going to reign supreme, because we've talked a lot in the Overwatch League about Linkser and him being a fantastic counter sniper,
right.
But that really hasn't held true in Stage 3. If you dig into some of these statistics, it's actually, since Saya Player's debut, if we look purely at Widow versus Widow kills versus deaths, actually, Saya Player is leading Overwatch League right now in Stage 3 at 2.43 Widowmaker kills for each time he's killed by a Widow, and Linkser is at 0.67. So he is actually dying a lot more to enemy Widows, so perhaps some of the luster of his original Widow versus Widow dueling prowess has somewhat faded.
We're going to have to wait for the Widow v Widow for a little bit at least, as Houston Outlaws are starting out with the Genji Tracer dive on their attack here on Temple of Anubis. Tavik with the early kill onto Jake as he bounces his way into the choke there.
And we see that's happened
Happens
so
to a lot of
many
Genjis.
times, especially with the boost, the damage boost coming in from the Mercy. Matt going to be strafing in there, taking a lot of damage, and that will give Banny some good ult charges.
Yeah, Linkser trying to make it past the sniper. He does, gets onto the high ground there. A little bit of flanking potential now for the Houston Outlaws that Florida has to be aware of.
So what the Outlaws are doing is they're going to threaten a back cap. When you have this low ground defense without using the May boost, it becomes a lot easier to force them back onto the point to have a Tracer contesting. Linkser's on the point now.
Yep, that's right. Saya Player went for a couple shots, missed him, has to worry about Linkser now. Going on to the other side, grappling over there, gets a shot onto Jake. And already Florida down a couple, but Houston losing more members on the point here. Florida may just take this one right off the bat. They've only got Coolmat, Muma, and Raucus there.
Yeah, will be a very fast defense here from the Florida Mayhem.
They'll take that fight.
Yeah, they do not actually get any kind of percent building the Houston Outlaws. And I think that was a mistake. Linkser had control over the point, and he went for some pressure onto Saya Player on the high ground. I think that's the opportunity you take, just to make sure that you are actually getting some percent ticking up on the point and force the Mayhem back.
Right.
They're going to be waiting here for the Riptire, letting his teammates give him the intel he needs. Also has the Infrasight to see when this engagement is coming in. This is going to be a long delay. Infrasight followed by Riptire is about 20 seconds of time that it makes it very difficult for the Houston Outlaws to press in.
Now Coolmat gets the tire. Houston Outlaws with a chance to push in now. Riptire still has that Valkyrie. Meanwhile, it's going to be Valkyrie for Mandy over there. Nice shot from Raucus on the Saya Player. Tavik in a lot of trouble. Zoe goes down to 8 HP. Turns it around onto Coolmat, who tries to escape. Tavik barely got the healing in time. I cannot believe he didn't die there. Coolmat gets demeched, gets de-lifed as well. Manitin down though, awesome guy kind of turning it up, but now Jake pulls out the Dragon Blade, cuts down to supercharge it along with the person who placed it, and Houston all over point A now. They should have this one.
Yeah, but it was the late kills that forced Jake to use that Dragon Blade, and the Florida Mayhem will be breathing a sigh of relief that they're not going to have the ability to cut them cleanly through on this next attack and try and force that big team wipe. Zupe already with the Transcendence, so Florida will be able, most likely, to stabilize here on point B without a big ult advantage in favor of the Outlaws.
Well, they'll try. Saya player over on the Tracer now, as Houston rushes into point B. It's going to be another Riptire coming in for Tvik. Last one got shot out of the air. Let's see if he finds any kills with this one. He gets killed on the way, and Linkser gets both Tvik and the Riptire. Tvik gets res though. They're going to go in with the Transcendence. Florida Mayhem trying to defend as best they can. Transform Raucous as well. Jake really close to another Dragon Blade here. We saw so many blades on this map a couple days ago. Manitin down. Here's a blade, trying to finish off the rest of the members of Florida on the point right now. They've got the pushback towards spawn anyway. There goes Zebasai. Jake gets a crucial one in the end and finishes off Soup as well. Both supports down via Jake. Florida, though, able to take out the rest of Houston and send them packing.
Yeah, that fight was balancing on the edge because not only did we see Linkser pick up the kill onto the Junkrat during the Riptire, he also pulse bombed Zupe and forced the trans early. So Linkser on the Tracer nearly opened up that fight in favor of the Houston Outlaws. I think he probably should have saved that.
Uh-oh, Manitin got demeched here. He was a little bit far forward, and Houston took advantage of that.
Yeah, needs to self-destruct just to get the mech back. So another wasted ult from the Florida Mayhem, courtesy of some upfront damage by the Outlaws.
Ult comes in, though, and they do get the demech onto Coolmat with the Riptire. They do have that on. Tvik caught by Linkser's Pulse Bomb. Meanwhile, Manitin, low health, tries to escape, gets demech, gets turned around. Muma gonna zone him out. Manitin working on getting that mech back now. Houston, though, still kind of flirting with taking the point here. They've used the Transcendence, or the Valkyrie rather, from Bounty, so they kind of need to make something happen, but they've lost Jake. Linkser pouring as much damage as he can into this team. Pulse Bomb comes in via Saya player, and that's going to cause him to get the DMAC and the kill onto Coolmat. Houston has to run away again. It feels like Houston's kind of struggling, winning the first part of the fight decisively enough to move fully onto the point.
And it's not due to the fault of Linkser either, who's opening up these engagements with the quicker kills. Another nice pulse bomb from him. And Outlaws having trouble getting this done. Jake dying at 99% of a Dragon Blade means they couldn't force the trance from Zupe. So in a perfect world, I think you use the blade, force the trance, and come back this fight with a trance of your own. But now it's trance versus trance, gonna make it a lot harder for the Outlaws.
We will see. Muma takes about half his HP, a little over in damage, and has to take a bit of a breather. They've got Awesome Guy, though. A kill for Houston as they come in. Trying to zone out the supports. They've got the pushback towards spawn again. Now Transcendence comes in for Zupa and Raucous. Zenyatta ult's going to be out for the moment. Here comes the Dragon Blade going after Zupa. Gets one support kill, looking for another one. Onto Zebasai, he finds it. Jake gets both supports again, and this time Houston has not lost the members they did before in the last fight. In fact, Linkser gets the Riptire and Tvik as well. Jake finally falls, but Houston has some people on the point. Can they get some more progress here? That's one tick at least.
Yeah, they just have the one tick. Awesome Guy coming in with no HP. Zebasai will spawn with a Valkyrie, but the pressure is still on to Zupe.
Muma's gonna have the Primal Rage here, gets the kill onto Zupa anyway. Doesn't even need to use that tool to zone those supports out. Zebasai pops that Valkyrie, and now Houston's starting to lose a few members. So it's starting to kind of fall apart, and as it does, Muma pops a Primal Rage anyway.
Yeah, they really just want to put the pressure on this point. Manitin is going to get demeched, but now the respawns will be coming through for the Florida Mayhem, and they're going to have to back off.
Some nice individual moves from Muma there, but overall the fight was lost. Do you think the Primal Rage was worth it at the end there?
No, it wasn't, but it's hard to know that with a lot of the players on the Houston Outlaws coming back from spawn. It was really close to them being able to make it back onto the point.
Right.
So I think that's an understandable issue to deal with, and Raucous at least will have the trance up. Linkser's been on point with these pulse bombs so far, and Jake's been building up his Dragon Blades pretty damn quick.
1 minute remaining now for Houston. They've gotten 53% of the point. Haven't been able to take that second tick, though. Pulse bomb thrown in there, doesn't connect with Zebasai. Florida only has to defend for less than a minute to get this hold against Houston, and Raucus down already. Not a great start for the fight. Bonnie brings him back up with the res, and there's a Transcendence immediately. They needed that Zen in the fight to have a chance to take it here. Transcendence used by Supa as well, and now Jake pulls out the Dragon Blade at the end of it. Seen that one before, yeah, but Austin guy was also ready for him. This time around, jumping all over that Genji before he goes down.
Yeah, timing just slightly off on that Dragon Blade during the trance. He got the good swipes while the Zen was still immune. Pulse Bomb will not find Zupe, but guess what? Coolmat will.
Well, you know, if a small explosion doesn't work, send in the big one. Coolmat gets that kill onto Supa, and Houston Outlaws putting themselves in a spot to maybe take point B here. They've killed enough of Florida that they can work on handling the respawns now. They've nearly got it, but they're gonna have to do it in overtime. Raucus down there without their Zenyatta. I don't think they can get the res off on it. Oh, and Jake gets taken up by Awesome Guy as well. Here comes OT, and Florida storms back onto the point to win this fight in a pretty quick order, and that may be about it. Muma coming in to try to delay it, but dies immediately. And so it looks like at the end of the day, it's just gonna be 81%, a point B taken by Houston. So they don't get 2 points, but they get most of point B. Still a solid chance to defend this one.
Absolutely a solid chance, but you have to look at a lot of the ways the Outlaws were opening up those fights and say, these are fights they probably should have taken home and snowballed a little bit harder than they were actually able to.
Right.
So I think some inefficient use of their ult economy, not forcing the Transcendence. Enough times, really, if you watch the way they were playing, the preference was to trade trances, Raucus versus Zupe, and then for Jake to come in with the Dragon Blade afterwards. I think you try and offset your trance there by using the Dragon Blade and then save your trance for the next fight. I think if they come in that way instead and start to game plan around that, then I think you actually are able to really control that point a lot better because you have so much of that healing on the point, and if you can deny your opponents the same, with the difference in respawn proximity, it really does make the big difference.
Well, and we also saw Florida adapting to that, right? I mean, the second time Jake pulled out the Dragon Blade after the Transcendences were used, Awesome Guy was like on him immediately, and he didn't get any kills out of that. So when you come in with kind of that same approach multiple times, you know, a team like Florida is becoming is going to be able to respond to that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It was a good adaptation. And we are going to see the Outlaws now on defense. And as a reminder to the fans, Houston is a much better defensive team than they are an attacking team. Their ability to stall this out before Florida takes the second point should not be in question. This is still a comfortable situation for them.
Yeah, Houston has generally always been better on defense than offense, so I think anyone who's been watching this team for a while probably isn't too concerned about the situation they're in. If they hadn't gotten anything on point B, then you might start to be a little bit worried. But where they got most of point B, I think things should be okay, but we will see. They're setting up that defense on the low ground here, not using the Mei boost to get Muma up on the high ground with that Orisa.
And it will be dive, Genji Tracer for the Florida Mayhem. We saw this same style of attack and defense before, but now the positions are reversed. And Saya player will be looking to sneak again back into the point to put pressure on it and disrupt that defense. He's already around the flank. You can see him on the left side of your screen making his way to the high ground.
You know, Lynx are starting out on the low ground with that Widowmaker, was really kind of being aware of the fact that Saya player might bring in the offensive Widow, but when he saw it wasn't going to be the Widow v Widow, hopped up on the high ground.
Oh, Rock is actually getting 1v1 by Saya player.
Saya player finds a kill on the side of the fight here. Rock is a little bit on his own, but Coolmat gets Zebasai, so that's the Mercy down for Florida, but Linkser and Bonnie down as well. Florida just rolling forward anyway, but Coolmat and Jake trying to turn it around. That is a very fast Riptire for Jake. Florida gets one tick already, though. They've got 3 people on the point right now, and only Muma and Coolmat left from Outlaws to defend this one. Make it just Muma now.
That's going to be it. I mean, Rock has made a massive positional error. He did not know that Saya player was on the side of the point, and that meant Saya player got an easy kill. He was trying to rotate away from the Genji. If you look at this right here, he thinks he's safe. He doesn't know this Tracer is here, and then he just gets wrecked. So that is the big mistake that causes this to happen. Also, the Mercy being that far away. They were so focused on the Genji. Raucus was left exposed.
That's one of those things where when you're playing Zen, you're like, how in the world did that Tracer get past me? Like, how did I miss that?
Well, the thing is, Saya player came in later through the choke than the rest of the team, so they didn't know where he was. They were distracted.
That is like the thing that makes you feel the dumbest playing Zen, trust me. Like missing a DPS getting behind you. Zebasai down already as Houston tries to defend here. On point B, there's the stick from Saya player. Muma down. Vic and Zebasai as well, though. So Florida gonna have a tougher time pushing through this one here. Saya player on the exit. Although his team are picking up a couple kills here, but doesn't look like it's gonna be enough to carry through.
Yeah, definitely not enough to carry through. Florida, they'll be feeling all right. They have a Valkyrie to use right now.
Nearly 6 minutes in the time bank too, so you've got time to kind of take it easy here. You can see him setting up on the map overview down there.
And this is the advantage too of already knowing where you have to be in this map. You know you don't have to capture everything, so maybe you just force out some support. Like that. That's fine.
That definitely works. Yeah, Transcendence comes in. Jake gets Rez. Rez is coming in from both Mercies here. Awesome guy, meanwhile, with that Primal Rage, pushes Zenyatta back into spawn before going, near the point, dying. Uma down as well. Manitin trying to hold on to the point here. He's got his supports behind him, but he has to use that self-destruct anyway. Gets his mech back with it, though. Jake and Bonnie down. Florida Mayhem with a big edge here. Otherwise, there goes Raucus. Florida looking okay. They've nearly got one tick already. Coolmat out of commission. They've just got to deal with Linkster. He's down off the point, pushed away. There goes Muma. One tick taken already. Florida in a fantastic place to take this map. Oh, it's so close. They just need 1% to do it. Dealing with Bonnie, and they've got it. Florida Mayhem will come in and roll Temple of Anubis.
And sometimes those things look bad, but if you look at the way Florida Mayhem did it, sure, you pull out the Dragon Blade, but you trade 2 support ults for it.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of your team falls back, and you can push back onto the point. You build up your own Transcendence at the end. And that's what I wish we would have seen from Houston at the start of this match when they were on the attack. Clean engage from the Mayhem, and you can sacrifice players, and it can be A-OK.
Strong start for Florida Mayhem. These guys growing right before our very eyes. We'll see if Houston can tie it up when we come back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back. This is Zoe, and the Florida Mayhem are currently up 1-0, and honestly, I'm not too surprised given how confident those guys were when I had a quick chat with them right before their match. And Tvik actually told me that looking at the map pool for this very series and looking at their recent performances and their improvements, it wouldn't be unreasonable for them to expect to take the series 4-0. They got one map in the back and 3 more to go. What do you guys think? Can the Mayhem do it? Well, Monty, Doa, what do you think? Can they make it happen?
I mean, hey, you know, they were 1-5 on Temple of Anubis before that last map. They looked really good on it.
So clean. That was such a clean attack.
I definitely agree. I think this team is improving pretty massively every time we see them. So I'm not going to say I wouldn't be surprised, but I can see that too.
Well, the thing is that we do eventually get to Junkertown, which is one of Houston's best maps. And I think that could be the thing that perhaps throws off the 4-0. But certainly for Florida, 3-1 is still a possibility.
Oh, yeah, sure. And I mean, if you look at escort maps, like Houston is very binary on their escort maps, right? I mean, they kind of dodged a bullet in that they don't have to play Route 66 today, a map that they have yet to take 2 points on. They get to play instead Junkertown later, which they're 6-1 on. So that's huge.
For you Houston fans out there, you should be carefully paying attention to the map pool, because which escort is in their pool for the week at stage 3 actually makes a massive difference. They have, like, it's not, you know, they haven't won on Route 66 like you say, but also like you say, they haven't even successfully completed that map or even the second point ever. So it's really bad. It is by far their worst map.
It is their kryptonite for sure. It's bizarre, but that's how it is. Well, we are going to Blizzard World for now. It's going to be our hybrid map. Speaking about results on this one, Houston 1-1 over the stage, 0-2 for Florida Mayhem coming into this one. See if the confidence of Logix can carry them through.
I think what's interesting to me about this map is that both of these teams run Tracer Junkrat defenses, which is not common. Now, a lot of teams are still trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work on Blizzard World.
Yeah.
But the answer has usually not been this, unless you're Florida or the Houston Outlaws. And then they'll switch to Junkrat Widow for defense on point B, which, of course, takes advantage of those long sight lines, and you control the chokes with the Junkrat instead.
Well, the other thing, too, is the Riptire on point B. There's so many little angles you can sneak around that it's really hard to kill the tire before it gets to you.
Yeah.
Here we go. Houston Outlaws on the attack, trying to tie up the series here on Blizzard World. Start things off with a bit of Linkser Widowmaker action.
Yeah, usually they'd like to play McCree on attack with the Tracer instead of the Widowmaker, but I think they know that the Junkrat and the Tracer are going to be here, so they want to try and get some hits from range, knowing that they're going to have a pretty significant advantage. So this should be a read into Florida's typical strategies, and
nice
a very important first kill.
Yeah, great pick from Raucus on the Saya player there. Linkser taking that spot that we see a lot of Widowmakers take. Over in the Fargo Deep Mine, a little bit of cover there. Takes a big Junkrat grenade though, but Florida does get pushed back here by Houston. That's pretty much point A, isn't it? I mean, Florida can still defend. They can go for it. They're coming into the very end here. But they lose Awesome Guy. Nice shot again from Linkser. Oh boy! Linkser and Raucus sniping everybody here, and that is actually huge because now Houston are going to get a really strong start on point B, and Florida's going to have a tough time setting up.
Yeah, 5.5 minutes, thanks to everyone walking into Raucus's scopes. And here, Linkser scopes. Here's Raucus, by the way. This is a point-blank kill. Look at this. Oh my, and that is such a huge opening kill. Your tanks are able to jump over there in case the Mercy tries to make a play for the resurrection. And Raucus may have mispositioned against Saya player in the last map, but he's certainly not mispositioned.
Oh yeah.
It goes both ways.
That was the bitter revenge. I mean, the other time he was reloading, this time he was loading that right clip up. So he was like, all right, I know you're around here somewhere. The adaptability, the revenge, I love it. Houston trying to grind forward here on point B. The tanks of Florida giving him some trouble. Linkser, though, giving Saya players some trouble as he's going to win the first Widow v Widow sniping duel here on point B. Zevasai, of course, coming in with that res. Nice stick from Jake to remove Awesome Guy from the equation for a little while here.
And with the res down and the infrasight up, this is exactly what you want. Linkser is on fire here on Blizzard World.
No kidding, man. He must have heard you talk about his Widow v Widow stats here, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to win a Widow v Widow, and then I'm just going to beat everybody else. And I don't think, if they take it right here, there has to be another fight. Okay, there we go, yeah. Because if they would have taken point B there, I think that would have been our fastest Blizzard World point B yet. Saya player down already, though.
Yeah, they just Coolmat collapsed on him with the help of Jake on the Tracer.
It's looking
and
pretty
it
good.
has been a shooting gallery. There is not going to be any pressure here onto Linkser, at least for a good while. How many ults are they going to get out? Finally, a kill comes through.
Well, they got the Transcendence out of Raucus as well. Bonnie has to get the res onto Linkser here. Raucus barely had that trance up when the self-destruct came in. Got bounced back, but didn't get killed. But now those really close respawns are starting to come into play from the Florida side here at the end of point B. Muma just diving in. He's going to go ahead and juggle Saya player to death here. Is he down? Oh, we got the health pack. This is suddenly going to take a lot longer for Muma, and suddenly you're going to get the kill. But you've been away from the fight for a long time, and your team needs you.
It's all right, their supports are still there. Tavik wants to make headway, but Coolmat will cut off the pressure onto Linkser.
Now Raucus down, but they're going to get Awesome Guy and Zebasai in return here. Rez comes in onto Raucus anyway, and that's going to be point B, I think, for Houston. Yeah, that'll be it.
That is such a fast time through point
Solid.
B.
Oh,
Nearly
Saya
5 minutes. There's a split spawn for
There it
you.
is.
Has to stand there and just take it so that he can rejoin his teammates deeper into point C. But Houston Outlaws have been unopposed, basically, and a lot of it has to do with Linkser, who is already a staggering 15 limbs, 8 final blows, and but a single death.
I mean, we're going into the Diablo 3 part of this map, and for Houston, it's feeling like a Greater Rift 70, I think, at this point.
It's going to be rough.
Rather. Yeah.
It's going to be rough. So Linkser still looking for some targets.
Oh, Zebasai.
May flank around the backside.
It's a bad time for Mercies. Both go down. Nice shot from Saya player, finally winning those Widow v Widows. Got a couple towards the end there. And that's going to be Houston getting pushed back. So finally Florida with a little bit of breathing room here at the end of C. Jake going to take a dive to rejoin his team.
That was a bit of a late fall off the map, though. He could have gone immediately. He was the only one there for about 5 seconds. And so he probably should have just taken the dive a little bit sooner. Now it's going to shave some more time off the clock. But fortunately for Houston, they have an abundance of time.
That's right. Oh, another stick on the Awesome Guy.
Oh,
Barely
yes.
alive, but no, he's trying to jump away.
Oh,
he actually
huge.
made it out. Insane. Still low, though. They're really coming to try to kill him, but they're going to get a bunch of other people on the way. Coolman's like, well, I came for Awesome Guy, but I guess I'll take a Saya player anyway. Pushes the Widowmaker back. Now goes in for that kill, and Houston winning this fight pretty handily.
And they have the Infrasight too, so now it's so hard for the Florida Mayhem to get out of those spawn doors.
Oh, yeah.
Will fade away, so they have a chance to regroup, but the payload is nearly at the end of this map.
Yep. Coolmat has his ultimate loaded up now. Tavik gets killed. There we go. Self-destruct comes in. It's going to be Raucus with the Transcendence to just keep everybody up on the point right now. Valkyrie used by Zebasai to try to heal everyone. They're going to layer the support ultimates. A nice shot onto Zebasai. Linkser waited for him to go down to the res on the Awesome Guy, and he was ready. That's going to be it, man. Houston Outlaws finishes it with a ton of time left on the clock.
That is a huge time bank for Blizzard World. At the end of the map, Houston Outlaws died only 11 times. Muma did not die once, and Florida Mayhem are slaughtered 38 times. That is just an enormous difference.
That's probably the most one-sided attack round on Blizzard World I think I've seen.
Yeah, and we're going to take a look at a replay of Jake in that last engagement on the Tracer. Already has the flank set up. Taking out Manitin here before he can re-back after the self-destruct. Beautiful pulse bomb as well. Flick of the wrist onto Saya player, and you'll see the snipe. Oh, no, we're not going to see the snipe onto the Mercy. Jake has tweeted recently about his improving Tracer skills.
Yeah, he said he still feels like he has a lot to learn, but he's feeling a lot more comfortable on the hero. It's a lot more fun now, and certainly looked fun from that perspective at the end of that one.
Yeah. Well, in such a defensive favored map, it's unusual that the defensive team would only get 11 eliminations because you have such a massive advantage defending at the end of point B, but Houston Outlaws powering on through, looking great.
Yeah, that was probably the quickest point B I think I've seen yet from the games you've seen in the Overwatch League.
Off the top of my head, I'd have to agree with you.
Yep. It's on memory alone, which don't trust me on that kind of thing, but I'll go with what I've got, you know?
So it will be the Junkrat on the Tracer and the Tracer on defense. So both teams starting off with this strategy and then moving into Junkrat Widow for the rest of the map. Linkser is going to be in position here to cut off where the enemy Tracer normally flanks around.
Yep. Flight to Duskwood. Watch out for high-level Horde players coming from Stranglethorn Vale. That's what I remember. Monty can relate.
I have no idea what you just said.
Exactly. Here we go. Florida Mayhem on the attack. They've got a lot of work to do if they want to try to equalize what Houston was able to accomplish in their first attack run here on Blizzard World.
So everybody's just going to pass Linkser by. They don't actually check that corner. He's behind them and they have no idea.
Yep, that could be a problem, Linkser. Getting into it, though. All right, they've got Florida a little bit penned into this room. There goes Saya player. Jake with an early kill. That is not where you want to be against a Junkrat. This is becoming a shooting gallery.
Oh, it's just a slaughter in there. Already the Riptire too, because they couldn't go back.
No, you need to have the payload before you go there, Florida. That's early. You need to get the payload first.
And that's why you check your corners, Noah. You get caught between a Linkser and a Jake Place.
They just really wanted to go to the StarCraft part of the map. I don't blame them. I like StarCraft. They don't just need additional pylons, they need the payload too. It starts with
They need additional payloads.
They need additional payloads, yeah. Exactly one more payload, in fact. Yep.
So, wow, well, when you're in a choke point like that and taking so much of the damage, sure, you're gonna heal it up by using your Moira, which is why Zupe already has the Coalescence, but you trade it for the Riptire. I'd rather have Riptire personally.
I think I'd agree with you on that one. Seems reasonable. Florida on the attack again here.
Coolmad lurking below again. They're going to catch them in another pincer movement.
Zupe's going to use that Coalescence as they go in here. All right, kill on the Zebasai to start things off with. Houston looking okay on the defense so far. There goes Saya player. Yeah, Houston looking very good on the defense. And now Awesome Guy on the run already, or on the leap at least. He's not going to make it out, and that's going to be another hold for Houston. So, Florida using the Coalescence there.
I think now may be the time Zupe will make it out alive, but I think you have to trade off this Moira right now. It's not doing you any favors. You have to stay grouped up, which is exactly how Jake wants you to be. And they knew the Coalescence was there because of the last fight and the trade that they made for the Riptire. So Benny and Raucus just run straight backwards through the choke point. Coalescence doesn't have any value, and the back line of Florida gets jumped on by the tanks.
Yeah. Here we go again. Florida getting close to having a lot of ultimates. A little bit more patience, and they'll have tons of tools to use, but Houston pretty much there already, and here comes another Riptire from Jake. Looking for targets. It's getting lower. Gets blown up, but doesn't find any kills. He activated it maybe a little bit too early, but it was going to die anyway, so you had to do something.
I agree. You did have to do something. At least you got yourself some time. Tavik coming in with a Dragon Blade now. Gonna be zoned off the point thanks to the self-destruct. Sound Barrier has been dropped by Florida.
Yeah, remake from Coolmat as he just pops out on the point to zone Florida out. Another Transcendence for Coalescence, rather, from Zupa. That's right. Oh, Linkser and Bonnie down. There goes Coolmat. Florida may have finally found the opportunity here. And that was interesting because Houston had pretty much equivalent ultimates with Florida. And Florida just kind of crushed that one.
Yeah, well, the price was so high, though, from the Florida Mayhem, using everything but the Dragon Blade that they had onto Tavik. Saya player will switch off onto the Widow, just like we saw from Linkser. They hold on to the Transcendence, though, and honestly, the Houston Outlaws have done enough. There's only 3 minutes remaining. If you don't take point A very quickly, it becomes virtually impossible, I think, to take point B here, because you have to win several fights in a row. Basically, at this point, they have to win something like 3 out of 4 fights if they want this payload to move the rest of the way.
Pretty much. Tavik's gonna have to have like the Dragon Blade of the century to get them through B in a hurry. And he's gonna have to use it, you know, right at the end, basically.
Yeah, he's, well, or at least he has to open it up just to move the payload, because Coolmat and Muma are just all over it right now, delaying.
Linkser has been losing more of those 1v1s than he's been succeeding. A side player got Jake as well, yeah. Tavik now pulls out the Dragon Blade. There goes Bonnie, so Houston Outlaws, the defense falling apart a little bit here. And Florida will move pretty quickly through B, at least getting near the end of it.
And that's just the first fight they have to win, though. Certainly, you need these shots by Saya player. Great shot. He's getting damage boost at the same time. And there's another one right as they're trying to attack him.
It died to Raucus at the end there, but hey, he got the job done, though, before that.
And there's
Saya player gets another one onto Jake.
Jake did not expect him to be at this angle, was trying to flank around, and Saya player wins the mind game. So this is going great for the Florida Mayhem.
Man, now Supe down, Linkser with a bit of sniping revenge here. Zebasai there with the res, though. They're gonna pop the Transcendence. Sebasai very close to his Valkyrie here. Awesome guy in Primal Rage, just trying to keep everybody pushed away from the payload so they can finish it. They're getting pretty close here. Oh, 0.16 meters away. They've nearly got it to the end of B, but now Houston jumps on. Jake and Lynx are down though, so Florida's still with the advantage in this defensive fight, but they gotta win it fast because the respawns are coming back in a hurry, and they lose to Vic. Saya player needs to find a lot of shots here.
And now with Raucus using the trance, that's going to be the ticket for Florida Mayhem to fall back. They know they only have one really good attack left in them with a minute remaining.
Right.
Saya player trying to get a couple of extra shots on with the Infrasight. So far, Florida Mayhem has won 2 out of these 3 fights, and it's almost rewarded them with point B.
They've done okay, but that stick from Jake, wow. Removing Soup immediately, now going right after Sebasai as he comes in with the res. Can't get the 1 clip though. But Bonnie gets taken out by Saya player in the meantime, so Florida's starting to grind through this one a little bit. Saya player still way back there. They gotta get some healing onto Muma on the Houston side. Jake coming in for the kill onto Saya player. Easy one to finish there. Florida may be in a little bit of trouble here. Javik trying to turn it around with the Dragon Blade though. Scott the Reflect comes in with the kill onto Lynxer and the Rocket. That is big. Cool Matt half health. Oh, he gets Bonnie as well with the final swipe. It's gonna be the self-destruct thrown in. No kills out of that one. Cool Matt not able to get back in the mech either. So it's just gonna be Muma and Lynxer on the point for now. Lynxer backing away, there goes Muma.
That's it.
They should get B. Okay, so a little bit more time in the time bank. 1:30 now for Florida. You can go through C quickly, but you're gonna need to be a juggernaut to finish this one.
But they've been a juggernaut so far, though, and they had to win 3 of those 4 fights. Guess what? They win 3 of those 4 fights to take it all the way to the end in 3 minutes. And now they have another chance to do it here. Coming back in with the Transcendence. Florida on point on this attack. Slow on A, but dominant on B.
Oh, another shot from Saya player. It's been so much fun watching this guy play on this team now. Loved watching him in Korea and Apex. Great to see him here now. Jake and Lynxer down. Lynxer back up again. Gets some revenge onto Supa. Florida gonna have to fall back. They've got about 45 seconds remaining, which is time to set up this attack. And when they come in for this next one, they're going to have the ult advantage too.
Yeah, they will. They're still gonna match Transcendences though, but they can feel confident getting the Valkyrie out of Fanny while they were falling back. And they have the Infrasight to set this up too. It will provide them enough cover to easily reach the payload, and then they can fight from there on point with the help of the Trance.
It is do or die for Florida Mayhem here on Blizzard World. Vic, with the reflecting, he's got the blade. Lynxer down, Saya player starts it off with a 6v5 against Florida. Now they're gonna go ahead and use the Transcendence. Lynxer rezzed again. Vic waiting for that perfect opportunity, waiting out the ultimates before he pulls the blade. It is time. Going into Raucus, sets up the reflect to avoid getting picked off, gets both supports in one slash.
No one's on the point!
No one was on the payload, and Houston will win the map. Oh man, that is a heartbreaker.
That is
for
a
Florida.
heartbreaker. You look at that, and
that was a one fight.
They came together so well. I love the way that they got back to the payload, intelligently managed their ultimates by using the Infrasight. Nobody on the Outlaws can peek, nobody can get to the payload. You get there, then you start opening up with your Transcendence, force the fight. Saya player just starting off all of these fights on BMC with picks, and then to have it end that way is a bummer.
All the wonderful setup and execution in the world doesn't matter if you're not touching the payload. And that's what happened. It's a tie match. 1-1, Houston versus Florida, halftime when we come back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
Welcome back, everyone. Florida came out strong at the start, winning game 1 on Anubis, but it would be the Houston Outlaws who were able to make the W happen on Blizzard World. Now we're all tied up 1-1. Of course, you had a nice little spicy C9 there at the end of the game.
One of the worst.
You hate to see it happen, folks.
When one team's got such an advantage and then it comes off, it's so disappointing. Johnny loves it.
I don't hate to see it happen because it always leaves with some great banter. But, you know, I'm sure for Florida, they just did not want that to happen. But anyway, let's refocus. So go to game 1. We had Anubis. And, I mean, honestly, we looked at this one and said, this is a good matchup for the Outlaws because they got Jake on that Junkrat. They could do it. They can make it happen.
Yeah.
But Florida, man, Florida looking really good.
Yeah, I don't know how to put it. This was the most expected outcome of Temple of Anubis ever, Josh. It's just like, yeah, 80% on the control meter on point B. You get a pretty good point A attack. The Junkrat, you know, shuts down the dive. It's pretty much everything we expected. But then finally, Florida Mayhem, they pull up the win. And actually, that was quite surprising, I have to say.
It was, yeah. I think, in general, the Houston Outlaws' defense on point B of Anubis has actually looked a little worse recently compared to what we were expecting. Previously, when we looked at this team in Stage 1, they were just getting Jake's Junkrat tires, getting 3Ks all over the place, riding up the columns. Jake was coming out with all the wins, denying the ultimates of the enemy team, and this was almost an unpushable point for anyone who was going up against Houston. And now it seems like they don't really have it together.
Oh, okay. Now, I think you can put it the other way and be like, oh, Florida Mayhem, you had flawless positioning, so you didn't enable Jake to get those with the retire.
Well, you know what, though? I need to be educated. I need some wisdom.
That's true.
In this. What I need is some insights powered by
I'm 22.
And you got
I don't have any wisdom. I'm 22, dude.
You're
supposed to be the parent. Okay, we got some insights powered by Intel. Okay, so we're going to take a look at how Florida won this point. So, Tvik is going to use this Dragon Blade at the top right corner, and he's going to go in and actually just pretty much suicide. This is pretty much the longest dive you will ever see from a Genji. He's going to go straight into the back line of the Houston Outlaws, and he is going to die. He is going to die. But that's not the worst thing to ever happen, because the mistake happens on the side of the Houston Outlaws. So we're going to see they took down Tvik with this Riptire. Okay, good. You took out the Dragon Blade, but you used the Transcendence and you used the Valkyrie as well. So you used your double support ultimate and the Riptire just to take out Tvik. And even worse is that Sebosai is going to get the Resurrection off on Tvik. So you pretty much negate all those 3 ultimates just to get Tvik back up, and you got a pretty even fight for you. So Florida Mayhem, they win this ult trade in many ways. And so they're going to go back to the point, and everyone is going to be safe and sound, except for Awesome Guy, who's actually going to get picked off right around here. And so you think, okay, this push is pretty much over, because Florida Mayhem, they don't have any way to control this front line on the point. And you need a tank, right? That's why you have a tank, so you can control the space. So you think, okay, this push is over. But because Manetan has the self-destruct, he's able to put this down onto the point and buy enough time and space for the Mayhem to actually get some picks and wait for Awesome Guy to get back. So you traded ults early on in the fight for your advantage, and now you're going to buy time with this self-destruct, which just popped off, and you're going to see that Tvik is going to get that pick onto Jake around this area, and from here, Florida Mayhem are able to snowball. So in many ways, this was a good opening for the Florida Mayhem, and it just snowballed out of control into a very good fight for Florida Mayhem, and they end up getting the point eventually.
Yeah, because when we looked at that fight, I saw it and I was like, man, that is a very ambitious Dragon Blade to do it from all the way back there.
It kind of worked.
You know,
no,
and
it didn't get play of the game, but it kind of worked.
They were just playing 4D chess. We all just didn't realize.
Well,
that was it.
given how ambitious that Dragon Blade was, the key thing is that you don't need to invest ultimates. If someone tries to do that into a team that recognizes it, Jake doesn't have to use the Riptire in that situation. He can use his Concussion Mines to peel. Raucus can take the death and just respawn with the Transcendence and give them an advantage in that fight. So there's a couple of things that they could have done differently to negate that, because, as you say, it was an incredibly ambitious Dragon Blade, but it just worked out perfectly because the response from Houston was exactly what Tvik wanted.
Yeah, and then as we look forward to Game 2, we did hear from Zoe that she spoke to Tvik, and Tvik was feeling the 4-0.
That's so weird as well, because there's Junkertown in the map pool. Houston's the best team in the world on Junkertown. And you're like, yeah, I can 4-0 these guys.
Hey, man, I love not going to defend that statement whatsoever. Leave it hanging. And it's tied 1-1.
Yes, it is. Having said that, Linksa had a fantastic performance here on the first half. But then, as soon as a counter sniper was on the other side, this stat reared its head of Linkser, the guy that we thought was one of the best counter snipers in the world in stage 1 and stage 2, isn't really feeling it at the moment, it seems. He hasn't been able to get the better end of these Widow v Widow duels, but nevertheless, on the first half, he carried them to such an incredible performance that he sets them up for the win.
Yeah, I mean, that entire push just led him to 2:30 left on the cap timer after you pushed it. And then this happens. No! Oh, the heartbreak. Now, I hate to see it.
What you can't see on screen there as well is that Manitin's turned around to peel for Zuppe in the backline and can't quite get back to the cart. So awesome guys jumping forwards. He's expecting Manitin to come and touch the cart as well. Maybe some drop in communication there and it all falls apart at the last moment.
That was definitely a really good chance for the Florida Mayhem as well to actually finish the map and actually have a chance at winning the map as well. So maybe Tvick could have been right, but you stepped off the payload. You can't step off the payload.
Yeah. What was it? Monty said they needed to win 3 out of the 4 fights going into point 2.
Yep.
They did exactly that. And then they were on track to be able to execute and get that 3rd point. And then it happens. It all comes crumbling down.
That's what they call it, the Crumble 9.
The Crumble 9.
That's why it's called a C9.
That's it, man.
That's really it.
Oh, boy. Well, I mean, gentlemen, now we're at a point where Houston and Florida are tied up 1-1. We have a damn good game on our hands.
We're going
here.
to Ilios as well. Ruins. Saya player versus Lynx again on the Widowmakers. Going to set up Ilios. And then we've got Junkertown.
Both incredible Widow v Widowmaker maps. I don't know who's going to come out on top at the moment. It looks like Saya player. I think he comes out on top, but Florida Mayhem still lose it anyway. I'm going with Houston Outlaws with a 3-1 win.
Okay, what about for you, Green Force? Do you still believe Houston is going to get the win? He did say it was going to be a clean 4-0.
No, I did not. No, that's lies. I think Houston Outlaws in 5 maps.
Okay. Oh, I would actually love to see a Game 5 to start it up here today at the Blizzard. I think everyone here would like that as well, right? Game 5? Get a spicy Game 5 to get things going. Well, folks, we have Ilios and Junkertown coming up next, and the match is tied 1-1. We have some great Overwatch being played on that stage. So when we return, it's the conclusion of Houston versus Florida. We'll see you soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are all tied up in our first game of the day between the Houston Outlaws and Florida Mayhem, 1-1. And all right, guys, I've been noticing here at the Overwatch League, there's been a lot of C9ing happening lately. So I decided, hey, why not give all those new players out there a little explainer on what the payload is, since people tend to be allergic to it. And I don't want you guys picking up any bad habits. So the payload, it is your objective, it is your mission. You want to get it from your beginning destination to a final destination through checkpoints. The payload doesn't move unless the attacking team is on it. If the enemy team is on the payload, then it will stop, it's contested, and the attacking team, defending team, they have to battle it out. If the attacking team gets off the payload in overtime, the game is over. And one cool thing, 3 players on the payload who are attacking, that's when it moves max speed. And also, something that I think a lot of people tend to forget is that when the attacking team is near the payload, they actually receive heals. So say you're a Tracer player, and you decide, yo, I'm gonna flank the Zenyatta on the other team. I'm gonna run around the back and try to do that, and then he hits you with orbs, and you're near death, and your healers are preoccupied. Go back to the payload and get some heals. Simple as that. This has been a PSA from your boy, Malik. All right, now with that, why don't we go ahead and get back into the action with our casters, Monty and Doa.
Thank you, Malik. That's right. Time to go on to another map. That's actually a really good tip as far as the payload heals you. It surprises me like how many people still don't realize that you do get a little bit of healing if you're near the payload.
Very small amount. I do appreciate the PSA, but it's been my personal experience that attempting to educate people who play the game about objectives is essentially a futile effort.
Well,
because they're just going to go and try and deathmatch no matter what.
It's all about when you do it. If you do it during the game, then if you're like, hey guys, do you know what the payload is? That might be taken the wrong way in the game, you know what I mean? We got some subs coming in. It's Boink coming in for Bonnie as we get ready to move into our control map. Also gonna be Clockwork coming in for Jake as we look ahead towards Ilios. And on the other side, the floor side, Logic's back again, subbing in for Tvik.
Yeah, these missing Tracer players, Clockwork and Logic's for a little while, but now
back.
Both being brought in for Ilios, which I think makes a lot of sense. So many people have said Logix needs to be back in this lineup. He's an excellent Tracer player to really flesh out with Saya player on the Widow when you want to run a Tracer and Widowmaker composition. Now, both of these teams have been recently favoring Tracer and Soldier on the non-Ruins points, that is to say Lighthouse and Well on Ilios, but Saya player, looks like we might see a little bit of Pharah. Nope, switching over to the McCree at the end. But Clockwork, interestingly enough, a player that really has only played Tracer in the Overwatch League, now will be on the Pharah, and Linkser will be on the Tracer. So Clockwork has been apparently training up his Pharah in secret. And there's a damage-boosted body shot.
There you go. Hey, now they know that there's definitely a Pharah there. The res comes in for Saya player anyway, and he is going to feel some pressure coming in from the damage-boosted McCree on the other side, too. But what a start for Clockwork.
Well, Jake has been the Pharah player, so you definitely do not expect to see that when they're running this lineup. Meantime, though, the setup, look at this. There's a big arc of players from the Houston Outlaws around the outside, but damage boost for damage boost, and Saya player collects not only Clockwork, but Raucous' Mercy.
I mean, he raids the pharmacy there. I mean, that's just about it, right? Florida Mayhem back on the point. They're going to get it flipped pretty quick as soon as they handle Clockwork here. Got the DMEC, got the kill. That's going to be Florida Mayhem with a % going in. They need to win this map because we know how good Houston Outlaws are on Junkertown. They're 6-1 on that map. So if Florida doesn't win this one right here, it's going to be tough for them to force that game 5, right?
Yeah,
or take it next map.
Yeah, I think they're going to be much more comfortable with an Ilios win. Like you say, Junkertown, far from a foregone conclusion for a Florida win. They will be facing an uphill battle, and there you go, Saya player.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts to watch, man. You just can't get away. He even goes for the roll into the flashbang. Manitin picking up that kill on the Linkser anyway. And we're starting to see this McCree a lot more because you can kind of run it damage boosted like you would run the Widowmaker anyway, but it fits into these more sort of like a shorter range oriented map points like Ilios Lighthouse. So it's we're seeing it more, and I like it.
Also, I think that they were definitely expecting the Tracer Sombra, and McCree is the preferred counter hero to that because you can punish them from their close range. But Logix zips into the hallway, sticks Boink, and recalls out.
Yep, just wall rides past and picks up a grenade on the way. That's a painful one for Boink.
This has been dominant for Florida. Houston has struggled to even get close to the point outside of the initial pickoff. Clockwork still having to stay at maximum range to abuse the McCree damage fall off.
Man, Saya player walking forward like a vengeful Ronald McDonald, just wiping people off the map. Scary to watch. Clockwork low, it's gonna be another kill for Saya player on that McCree. Make that 2, man. Houston just doesn't seem to have a chance here.
Saya player currently is responsible for 6 final blows out of the 14 deaths on the side of the Houston Outlaws. And he has another Deadeye now to zone them out. It's desperation time. Clockwork switches to the Soldier. They just have to get in.
Yeah, they got to rush the point in a hurry here, and Florida's got a ton of ults to handle that. Clockwork and Boink already down, and another Deadeye for Saya player. Oh, but Rockets from behind! It's never the Zenyatta that you don't see. That didn't make any sense. You get the idea.
So you always see the Zenyatta is what you're saying.
That's right. That's right. Not mine.
Got it.
Oh, Houston picking up a couple kills here, actually. In the last moments, they're trying to swing it around. Florida responding with Zupa and Logix, finding some kills of their own, but it's not going to be enough, and Houston will actually flip it.
They had 5 versus 2 at the end, so that pickoff during the Deadeye, I think it was optimistic because there was so much cover to hide behind as the Outlaws flipped the point. But credit to them switching up this composition. Clockwork now posting onto the high ground. Muma there on the side.
Listen, we're not talking about your teddy bear from grade school, Monty.
Muma on the side. Now he's going to jump in to try and counter dive.
Yeah, awesome guy down. Florida Mayhem without their tank right away. They're going to have to back away, but remember, they're at 99 cents. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us as Cass? 99%. I need a nap after this one.
It's a dollar store game, Dara.
I guess so. They've got the luxury of approaching this slowly. That's what they'll do. I'm afraid to talk now.
Muma is hanging out, waiting for the dive to come in. So he has his eyes on Clockwork and Ruckus on the high ground. Doesn't want them to get picked off any more than they already have been. Now up to 70%. Logix still not going to find a target there for the pulse bomb. Linkser rewind is currently down.
Florida had a good hold, but they're having a hard time approaching the point now. Zebasai gets a res. Wilmet nearly demech there. Force a recall out of Logix. That's going to be something when he takes this 1v1. Gets the health back, but it's dangerous to take that Tracer battle without the recall. Gonna go in now. Ruckus fighting it out with Logix here. Oh, but Kumak comes in for the melee from behind, and that's another very one-sided fight for Houston. Man, they have just seized control back from Florida in this game.
And great news for the Houston Outlaws. Both of the support ults were used at the point while they were just picking off people, trying to make their way there in time, and Houston is gonna run it all the way back.
Now Logix can try to come in, and he does with the pulse bomb. They get the sound barrier, but can they keep it? No, that's going to be an explosion pushing Vanatin away. And wow, cool, Matt. And the rest of Houston Outlaws coming up big here on Lighthouse.
And I love the way they played that too. The switch to the Soldier 76 at the end, just to get back to the point in time and try and take the fight to them. Then they get control of the high ground, and that's not anything that the Florida Mayhem are ever able to touch again. They're constantly playing at a terrain disadvantage because they can't dive up there. And when they try, Muma is posted to be there instantly with a rocket jump. So great positioning from the Florida Mayhem, or from the Houston Outlaws at the end. Florida Mayhem don't really have an opportunity, and they have to throw in both of their support ults, but there's nobody there to actually get healed up. Everyone else struggling to even make it there through the withering hail of Soldier 76 fire.
And now with Houston 1 round up in Ilios, we go to Ruins. We get that Widow battle between Linkser and Saya player again. Saya player getting the better of it on Blizzard World, despite Florida losing that map.
Muma just walks up straight into all of the members of the Florida Mayhem. He's melted, but Linkser will take that and get a kill for himself. He will get the resurrection down. See the cover there, but that's not gonna work. Okay, so Saya player thought Linkser would be looking at the res, but he was looking for Saya player.
Yep. I mean, we don't refer to Linkser many times as one of the best counter snipers in the league for nothing. He's always looking out for that other Widowmaker, and you know, just because he hasn't been winning them all lately doesn't mean he can't win them pretty much any time he feels like it.
Yeah, it has been a struggle for him, definitely in stage 3, and we need to see him return to that form if they're going to win this Ruins, because the Widow battle is the most important thing that happens on this point.
It generally is the key, and it's been the key to the first 25% or so from Houston Outlaws so far. Manatin loses a big chunk of health. from Linkser. And Zebasai down. All right, Clockwork comes in. Whoa, he gets a D-Mech on a Manitin as well. Houston rocking this point.
That is the most important Clockwork statistic, D-Max Stoa, as we know from the Houston Outlaws.
True, there you go.
Picks up the kill this time too, though.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got a couple kills. You got the D-Mech, you got him later too.
Great pulse bomb from
nice.
Clockwork.
Very, very nice.
And that's the advantage of having the infra site on this map too is absolutely huge because you have to walk through these open corridors and it shuts down the enemy team from making any kind of plays or groups them up like we saw so that there's a pulse bomb that can get one or more kills very easily.
Well, Zupa finally finds the kill on the Clockwork here. Houston without their tracer for the moment. That's not going to be resable probably. Linkser gets dived on. It's taken out pretty quick, and Florida back with a vengeance now. They're going to use everything they've got to flip this point. So at 71%, Florida finally takes control.
Yeah, but that's the magic percentage in Overwatch control. About 70% is one fight territory, basically. If you can get it above that, you have a lot easier chance of actually closing the map. If it's below 70%, that's when things can get a bit tricky, and it's a bit more of a coin flip as to whether the one fight is actually going to allow you to win.
Very true. Logic's just trying to defend against Houston as they come in now. So watch out for that self-destruct. Manitin back in the mech. There goes both tracers now. And now Muma pops that Primal Rage, trying to take advantage of Florida having a bunch of people in that little room. He's back on the point now, though. Clockwork getting a little bit low, but Manitin right there to help out. Now the Transcendence from Houston, bringing Muma back up to full health. And Manitin on the run, losing a lot of support from his team. He was the only one on the point. And Florida probably going to have to give that one up. They're going to try to hold it for as long as they can, but it's going to be a challenge. And yeah, Houston takes it right back again.
And Raucus with a big kill at the end on a Saya player, too. That was after the infra site has been used, gives them an opportunity to res Linkser.
Wow. All right, so Florida on the outside looking in at a point where if they lose this map, if they lose this round, they lose the map. But if they lose the map, it's going to be very tough to take the series.
Yes, it will. So Boink going to use Valkyrie early right now, and they're not going to get hit by the pulse bomb this time.
Oh, some damage from that pulse bomb, but not enough for the kills. Meanwhile, Houston, the rest of the team finding the kills here. Linkser gets jumped on by Awesome Guy, but it is going to be Florida Mayhem with not a lot of people on the point right now. Overtime expiring. It's just Manitin and the supports left for Florida to try to contest this one.
They need to get this Diva down, but the self-destruct makes it hard to do that. They have to run away out of that line of sight, so Manitin will remech.
Yep, that's right. Florida making a solid try at it here. Zebasai has the Valkyrie up. He's keeping people healed, but that's the stick onto Manitin. Gets a little bit low. Logic's the early finish off. Now he is finished off by Linkser as well, who finds that shot. Awesome Guy comes back just in time. Florida not giving up just yet. Getting a little bit more control percent, but can't flip it. Deep into overtime now, and Houston able to finally take it. They take the lead in this series, and with the fact that we have Junkertown next, I think if you're Houston Outlaws, you're feeling pretty good now.
Yeah, you are. They did lose on Junkertown. Their one loss came to Boston this stage, but overall throughout Overwatch League, they have been incredibly dominant. So Houston now in prime position to take this series 3-1.
Well, it was still Saya player putting on a show on Ilios with that McCree, but in the end, it just was not quite enough to stop the Houston Outlaws. We'll have to see if they can wrap the series up or if Florida will tie it when we come back right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
The damage available. And Boyer has so much ability to be able to just get away from players like Linkser on the Tracer. Now getting very close, building up the ult, and there it is. Oh, okay, the coalescence coming out here. Jae-Hong's just giving the Houston Outlaws a good hosing down. Oh, they're clean indeed. But that push from Soul was nothing but dirty.
want to commit to this fight here, Houston Outlaws, and let's see if they can actually make it work.
The Florida Mayhem coming out on top early in this fight.
Houston Outlaws not holding back.
The avalanche of white comes in for the Houston Outlaws.
The Mayhem are holding strong. Mayhem trying to close down the point. They got it really well played. This is big for the Mayhem.
Welcome back, guys, to the Blizzard Esports Arena here in beautiful Burbank, California. Don Monte Cristo here, ready to possibly close things out between Houston and Florida. If Houston takes this next map, they're going to win it. Florida looking to tie things up. But you had a little bit to talk about Houston's attack when they played Philadelphia on this map.
Yeah, that's right. We can take a look at this clip, and they had already full-held Philadelphia, so you can see they don't have far to go. But when they come out of spawn, notice that they like to run Raucous on the Bastion here. They quickly check in case there's a blitz on that side with the Hanzo arrow before swapping back over to the Widow Junkrat combination. But Shadowburn gets pulled from distance there. The Halt comes through and yanks him out from behind cover, and that's where the Widow shot runs in, and this is basically over at this point. You're not going to be able to defend. Now, Philly did make mistakes here. Shadowburn should not have been in the upper part of that building where he could have been halted and then picked off by Linkser. But they're so good at playing these angles, using the Halt, trying to get the Widowmaker shots in, that they can be surprising, and it forces teams to play very defensively against them. Nothing you can do with Raucous on the payload right now. It's a fast cleanup. So take a look for the positioning that Linkser has in the building on the right-hand side as you come out of spawn, and whether or not they're going to be hitting these Halt combinations, because that unraveled really fast for Philadelphia.
Right. Well, we've got some subs coming in before this map as well. Bonnie back in, subbing in for Boink. And we've got Jake back in for Clockwork on the Houston Outlaws side.
Of course, Jake recently saying that Junkertown is his ancestral homeland in his post-match video AMA.
He does look very at home there, that's for sure. Tavik back in on the Florida side as well. Subbing back in for Logix. And so it was a dominating Temple of Anubis from Florida, but then it's been all Houston. It was a fairly close Blizzard world before a little bit of an odd ending as no one touched the payload from Florida side. And then Ilios, you know, early on Lighthouse.
Looked
good
really
for Florida,
good for Florida.
Houston brought it back, though.
Yeah, the swaps, I think, confounded them in the end. Perhaps they were staying on that far for a bit too long, but ends up working out for the Houston Outlaws anyway. Houston will be on the attack first, and as it appears right now, will be Raucous on the Bastion. So classic lineup.
Ooh, it's a pretty far up place to defend if you're Florida.
Well, this is actually what Philly made the mistake. They placed the barrier there and then tried to fall back and got halted. Linkser's in the same spot. There's the Halt coming out now. Not going to pull Tavik. So they are well aware of what they're trying to do, but that gives Raucous time. So the idea is the Halt goes out to cover Raucous getting onto the cart. If you can pull somebody out, get a headshot on the Widow, that's great. If not, you post on the cart.
I mean, you know that Florida's going to be watching that footage, right? They know exactly what Houston did against Philly when they played that map. Shield down for Orisa a little bit. Now Linkser has to find some picks here, but that payload already moving so far. They're doing a great job, like we looked at them, pushing Florida back. Now the dive comes in for Florida. Oh, great hook onto Linkser. Oh, can he get the kill, though? He needs it. Zupa on the run. Linkser getting bold, going in with the SMG, and Zupa can't handle the pressure. Oh, man. Linkser finally taken down by Saya player in a little Widow v Widow. The payload has been stalled out.
But the res will come to Linkser, and it's not going to come to Saya player Doa, but
there goes Raucous.
He will be able to pick up the kill onto Raucous. So both of the Widows coming in at the end.
Yeah, so now you probably swap. If you're Houston, do you keep the Bastion? Raucous thinking about it. He's getting closer to the ultimate here. Jake doesn't get anything with the Riptire, or Tavik rather does. So many Riptires. Here comes Jake's now.
Jake might get something. No,
Zupa. Right, gets it. And Florida poking away Houston, but not enough to stop that payload. They actually kept Raucous on the Bastion. They had just enough power going forward here, and he was getting close to the ultimate. They wanted to keep him on that. I was going to pop it right at the end configuration tank, but he gets hooked. Oh, point blank! You don't want to pull that towards you, and that's why it's a bit dangerous.
Stopping the supercharged damage from an ulting Bastion, difficult, but right now they're holding. Linkser still wants to get a couple more shots in, does grab Tavik, and they'll take point A.
I mean, yeah, the tanks are gone for Florida, so Houston able to push through this one. It Wasn't as quick as it could have been, I suppose, but it was still very fast.
Yeah, chaotic at the end, but I do agree that Houston should have stayed on the Bastion, not only because he was close to the ult, but because they had opened up space on the cart. So he was able to get right back onto the payload. That doesn't happen usually, but because of the other kills and the fact that the remaining Florida Mayhem members were like Saya player on the Widowmaker who was trying to fall back to the high ground, you do have a chance.
Right, they pushed Saya player back and they got that kill on Manitin right at the same time. So those two big threats, Sebastian, weren't around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Houston Outlaws getting a chance to set things up aggressively here on point B. After getting some kills right at the end of A, that's what generally happens on this map. The payload moving unopposed, already 3/4 of the way through. Now Florida jumps down. They contest with Manitin and Awesome Guy. Need a little bit more here. The halt doesn't pick up anything for Houston. But they are still pushing forward here. Florida, again, just being zoned very well, but kind of waiting for their moment. Now they're jumping on the back lines. Jake jumping down to try to defend the rest of his team. Awesome Guy. There we go, got it out. Pushed away. And we'll see if Jake can pick up anything with this rip tire. Oh yeah, there goes Awesome Guy. Raucus gets a kill on his Ebisai as well, and Houston keeps rolling forward.
I mean, Florida didn't do anything while Houston was repositioning.
Not really.
The main problem is Zupe got left behind by the rest of his team, who was rotating onto the backside of the payload, but Houston just got to walk up the stairs for free while Cool Matt was pushing it, and then reset in the middle high ground to cover both angles. So unchallenged, and you can't just let a Bastion do that.
Yeah, that's right. Raucus, they're trying to keep him alive. Here comes the tank again. Awesome Guy down, and you're gonna chase the Tracer through the hallway. He's covering a lot of fire on there. His team picking up the kills here, but Raucus did work. You don't see a lot of Bastions make it all the way to point C, but hey, if it's working, why stop?
It's definitely working. They haven't had an answer to this yet, though. Raucus is just running around rampant on this map right now.
It's very old school Junkertown right now, getting to use the Bastion all the way through. Cool Matt using the emote to check around the corner a little bit there, or to showboat, one of the two. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Awesome Guy gets caught by the self-destruct though. And whoa, Raucus, he just, oh, there it is. All right. All right, you've accepted your fate at that point. The res comes in though, so the Bastion's still around.
You could get him, but you take an ultimate to,
now he's not.
to get the res. And I think now,
There we go.
now is the time to end the Bastion experiment. It's gotten you nearly through this whole map.
Whoa, the kicks. You know what? Let's pretend Zenyatta got that kill. How about? No, he did enough kicks. It was just Genji finishing him off. I mean,
Genji just comes in to steal the glory, though.
Zupa did all the work. Zupa did all the work. What do you expect, though, from your pupil if you're Zenyatta, right? Because
Okay.
Genji is Zenyatta's pupil.
I don't know anything about the Lord, Noah, so
true.
I'll just take your word on that one.
Oh, good. Glad you believe it. If it comes in, Dragon Blade time. It's going to be attack visor for Jake, though, trying to, not finding anything as Awesome Guy cuts him down, or bashes him down, the two.
So thanks to the swaps with Raucus heading back to the Zenyatta, Jake actually moving on to Soldier now, so they want to run dive as Linkser also makes the shift over to the Genji. This is going to be a longer hold for the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, and they've only got to hold it for about 2.5 minutes yet.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time for them to finish the map, though, so the timing for the Houston Outlaws definitely still A-okay.
Oh, payload's moving. Jake actually pushing it by himself. Florida needs to respond, but I don't think they realize this is happening. Now they finally catch wind of it. Manitin down before he can really stop that payload. Man, Jake has gotten a ton of distance. Somewhere Soon is like just quietly nodding.
In approval.
Yeah, that's right. Payload is still
It's
going.
still going. I mean,
Florida,
Saya player's here, but he's getting pushed off. Cool Matt is there to back Jake up.
the Mayhem have got to get on this. Soup in a lot of trouble. Ooh, Jake thinking about going for the pulse bomb, but he saw the defensive matrix. Manitin was there to stop it. Now the pulse bomb getting nothing for Jake. Vic down. Florida struggling to hold this one. It's going to be the Transcendence from Raucus. Zebasai down. They can get back onto this payload, and they will.
Uma's still there with the Primal Rage too. With only a few meters, he can push everybody off.
I think so. I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Vic with the Dragon Blade. Oh, down. Jake finds him. Good protection of the supports there. That should be about it. Outlaws, only a bit to go. Awesome Guy and Saya play to deal with. Dragon Blade's going to help them do exactly that. And it's going to be 1:11 on the clock for Houston. So not a bad hold. for the Florida Mayhem, but Houston get the job done.
I mean, they shouldn't have gotten all that distance at the end there, Doa. After they reset their own ult economy to switch to the dive, and Jake, like you said, was getting so much movement. And we do have a replay of Jake canceling the Dragon Blade during that last fight.
Whoa.
Coming up here, and Dragon Blade was pulled, but before that, it was Muma who was just pushing the Genji into the corner, so Tvik really didn't have a great chance to use the Dragon Blade at all, and Jake doubles back to help out Muma at the end of the kill. Muma did most of that, though.
Yep, it's true. And Jake giving an inspiring speech right now, you can tell.
I wonder if he lets anybody else talk on the team.
You know, you've got Aragorn at the end of Lord of the Rings, you've got the President Bill Pullman in Independence Day, and you've got Jake in the Overwatch League. Great speeches in American and Middle Earth history.
And alternate universe Australia, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Burbank, California.
All right, so we saw the replay earlier of the Philly match. Philadelphia was not even able to push to point A. When they played against the Houston Outlaws, their defense was airtight. And now, Jake playing the normal position. These is normal starting positions for the Roadhog and the Junkrat. Their job is to hold this angle to prevent anyone from getting around the other side of the formation. And Linkser will be taking care of this side, where you have the longer sight lines for the Widowmaker. And it's a longer flank around to the choke point.
Florida on the attack. Minute 11 in the time bank for Houston Outlaws. Florida looking to equalize or exceed. They're going to do it with some picks, possibly.
Manitin gets to play the Roadhog, traditionally one of his best heroes. Tvik gets yanked out of cover.
That's a pick. That'll do it. Pick on Tvik, courtesy of Linkser. Meanwhile, side player looking for that Widow 1v1, took a shot. Gets a bit of healing from the Orb of Harmony, but has to kind of back away from that fight for the moment.
Houston playing pretty far up right now. They will fall back. They're not going to commit to defending at the front part of this choke. Raucus, however, still investigating possible hook opportunities from the flank.
Yep. Nice shot on the cool mat off of that halt. Took about half his health off. You bit a goodbye, awesome guy. Muma, an awesome guy, eliminated here. The res comes in on a Muma, though. Florida waiting for that respawn instead. Rockets down, so Florida not done yet. Oh, there goes Evisai, though. So, yeah, they're just not able to get. Oh man, that's a hook you're gonna want back. All right, there's the
D-Mac for
reset.
Coolmat, though, and he is not going to have a chance to respawn if he tosses himself off of the map.
Yeah.
He's going to manage to just stay behind the barrier on the payload. So good opportunity, particularly with the kill onto Linkser, is going to mean the early resurrection on the side of the Houston Outlaws. So now you have a mini diva and a resurrectionless Mercy that you're fighting into. This is a great chance.
Well, he's got his mech back again now. Got enough shots in to get it back pretty fast, and they get Raucus. So Florida coming in with the 6v5 right now. It's going to be the Transcendence from Zupa to try to keep Florida in this one, but here comes a Riptire. Oh, he finds Zebasai. No mercy for Florida, literally and figuratively. Houston Outlaws coming in with a lot of ultimates now, but they will get the hold.
And now that the Florida Mayhem at least have a shot with a Riptire to push this forward again. They got all the ults out of the Houston Outlaws, who had to use them because they were a player down for most of the last fight.
Well, Whole Hog for Manitin is a great pushing ultimate as well. So if they can get him up and in position, that's a good finisher for a point as well. But we've only got about a minute 40 to do it.
Probably going to be the best chance for the Mayhem, though. They have the Valkyrie up. There's only one support on the side of the Houston Outlaws.
Yep, Zebasai pops the Valkyrie. Raucus backs away. Here comes a Riptire for Tvik now. Oh, shot down by Jake, or blown up by Jake. Either way, Supercharger for Houston means there's a lot of damage coming in. Tvik and Manitin feel it. Oh, Linkser gets caught by Sayaplaya. There's one going the other way as Florida picks up a kill, but nobody left, and Sayaplayer just gets taken down by Coolmat. It's going to be Florida Mayhem back to spawn again. 1 minute remaining. Uh-oh, Coolmat brought in, taken out. Houston getting really aggressive actually on that defense, and they're going to lose the diva for it.
I mean, they're going to be okay with that, though, Doa.
Should be
Florida
able to get
Mayhem,
back.
they defended that with just a supercharger when it came to ultimates because they shot Tavic's Riptire down, and the Valkyrie came out super early. They've got a Valk for themselves. They should be okay as Cool Matt is going to make it back.
Side player looping around the side like we see a lot. Muma goes way airborne. Riptire comes in and takes out Awesome Guy. And there's a whole hog for Raucus to just keep pushing people back. Tranquility Pop to try to keep Florida in the fight. But it's not going to be easy. Oh, especially with Tvic getting hooked like that. Raucus's Roadhog is something that I feel like people underestimate sometimes, but he is pretty decent on that hero.
Just a beautiful sequence of plays. Speaking of Raucus's Roadhog, the whole hog pushed the trancing Zen back.
Yeah.
They were trying to use the trance to cover the Mercy res, but instead both of them get shoved back. No chance for the res. Trance is wasted, and the Houston Outlaws are dominating this defense.
Yep, Florida not even able to get to the payload. Houston Outlaws will win the map. They will also win this series 3-1.
Going up against the Outlaws on Junkertown is so damn hard. You can see how well they play around their ultimates. Raucus coming up on the Bastion as on attack, and then, of course, his signature Roadhog on defense. Their strategies aren't changing, but their execution is almost unparalleled on that map.
I mean, Houston goes to 7-1 on this map. Probably one of the best map records out there for an individual team. And Florida, while they had a strong start today, and I will say again, I think they legitimately look better every time we see them. Today, Houston Outlaws getting that win.
Absolutely, and Houston, despite their 3 losses, they come in 1-3, but we knew they were better than that because of the caliber of teams they were playing against and how close those matches were. It's a good map pool for Houston this stage, and you see them exploiting it now as we head into the rest of the stage.
That's right. So we're gonna take a break, guys, and when we come back, the desk is going to break down that series. Don't go anywhere. Lots more Overwatch League action coming up for you right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
welcome back, one and all. This is Zoe, and I'm joined by Cool Matt from the Houston Outlaws. Please give it up again for him and his team defeating. Yeah, that was a cue for you guys, by the way. You know, like that hand thing you've been doing. There we go. Defeating the Florida Mayhem 3-1. Now, you did drop that first map. It was Anubis, and so far you guys having a bit of a struggle in this stage. Specifically, you're currently 0-3, I think is the record. What is the struggle on this map for you guys?
I mean, it's probably worse than 0-3, let's be honest. Like, it's no secret that we're really bad at Anubis. We're kind of bad at 2CP in general. We've gotten better at Volskaya, so like, for Anubis, for us, it's really about like, playing more patiently. I think like breaking the fights down into stages, you know, like we attack one section, then go to the next section. Like, we rush a lot of stuff. I think that's our main fault. So like, right now we're working on discipline and like patience and execution of our strategies.
Well, I hope that's going to work out for you in the future. And speaking of the future, you headed into stage 3 with a pretty tough strength of schedule, facing off against some of the hardest opponents in the league. But looking ahead, it's going to get a lot easier for you. Do you see yourself in the playoffs for this stage?
I mean, we're used to playing the best teams at the start, right? Like we've always have. I think our performance this stage, like we didn't take any of the wins, but like we brought it really close. That was like the closest we've got, and I think we're the closest to like our stage 1 dominance that we were, even though we have a long way to go. I think that last stage was a lot of problems. Playoffs, there was like no chance that we were going to make playoffs last stage. But this, I think, we have a real shot this time. And like this week, we took a win off Mayhem. Mayhem's really strong, and like last week, like we brought those teams to the brink. So I think that our fans can expect some good stuff from us this stage.
All right, well, that's a promise right there from the Houston Outlaws. Thank you so much for joining me. We're now heading over to Golden Boy and the boys on the desk to break down the game.
Thank you so much, Zoe, for that one. And, of course, congratulations to Cool Man Houston Outlaws. They get the 3-1 win. Let's go ahead and break it down. Started things off strong on Anubis for the Florida Mayhem. And, I mean, honestly, though, still I feel like we were in for quite a good match, and that's exactly what we got. But if you're a Houston Outlaws fan, you definitely got what you wanted. You got that spicy 3-1 victory. But let's go to map 3, Ilios. Because this was just, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, Saya player just went out of his mind and picked out Clockwork out of the sky. But that was pretty much all that Florida did throughout Ilios. So it was an impressive performance. Florida Mayhem, they get up to 99% on this round on Lighthouse. But after that, Clockwork stopped to the Soldier, and it brought down the tempo quite a lot. And I think Florida Mayhem, they struggle with this because when Houston Outlaws forced the Florida Mayhem to play so slow, then the Florida Mayhem did a lot more mistakes in general, and we saw that team cohesion wasn't just there.
I don't think they're a very decisive team, Florida Mayhem, when the pace of the game slows down. Their tanks kind of wander around. They don't quite know where they should be positioning or how to go aggressive, how to switch up the tempo once another team brings it down. So they end up looking very passive. They didn't have the ability to jump aggressively and shut down Linkser, who was playing so well on Ruins. And I think that is a general trend throughout their players. They just tend to slow things down and get in their own heads a bit, play too passive.
Well, a question real quick before we move on, though. They did sub in Logix for Tivik in that game. Did you feel like that was kind of a sub to see how Logix would, you know, slay out, right, for their squad on Control, or you think it's something we're going to see move forward? Because we talked about the duos, right, combinations, and Saya player really bringing
I just think you're confident on Ilios. You don't have to play that projectile, right? You don't have to play a Genji. You don't have to. They could play a McCree, and it would have been perfectly fine. And then you go into Ruins, and it's Widowmaker and Tracer, so I don't think they needed Tvik necessarily, but maybe they lack the shot calling and the initiation we saw from them earlier in the series.
Yeah, well, we'll see how they opt to maybe shift that moving forward in their next few matches. But then moving forward, though, to Junkertown. And this one was just, this is Houston City, man. Yep. Like, Junkertown might as well just be in Houston, Texas. Because
it really
this team owns that spot. Yeah, don't tell Mitch.
Houston Outlaws are definitely the best team in the world on this map. I think that the stats speak for themselves. They've only lost once, and that was to Boston, who are also looking pretty good on it themselves. A really good team. But the Houston Outlaws have got such a great understanding of how to defend on this map. They very frequently hold teams to point A. And even if they take a little bit of time to get to the end, sometimes they complete it in overtime, but they can always rely on this stellar defense where they run either solo support or sometimes they have a combination of different strategies, but Jake is always there and Linkser is always there and they're always putting up the numbers.
Junkertown is Outlaw City.
It is.
They own that place.
You're just stuck with that now.
I love it. I love it, man.
It's pretty fitting.
It is. You know, right? Why not? right?
Yeah, they're a bunch of misfits and outlaws, and they're kind of stuck in a big ramshackle house. So
They're not misfits.
no, they're
Oh,
not
hey.
misfits. They just beat the misfits.
That's it's just
perfect.
reference after reference. This is what I bring to the table, folks. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP, and it is Raucus. Raucus, your player of the match. And you know what, man? We debated this one for quite a bit. We were like, we don't know who to give it to, because everyone in the Outlaws performed very well. But for me, I got to give it to him for that amazing Bastion performance on
It came down to the Bastion, right? The fact they kept this going until point C is just a testament to how good the Houston Outlaws were, because they never stopped. Or well, they can't have one, but it didn't matter because they kept playing Bastion.
Yeah, that's true. But Raucus, you know, on Anubis, he got caught out that one time with Saya player,
Zenyatta.
and then popped his ultimate at the end. Zenyatta? No, he's,
he's a
he's a
Bastion.
Bastion player.
Where's the Bastion stat?
These are clearly the
It's a
wrong-
Bastion, man, clearly.
But he did have a great Zen game as well. He was actually taking long snipes against Saya player.
Yes,
and
on
then
Anubis.
Yeah, and then Saya player's got the dual threat. You know, do you peek and try and take out the Zen? You have to time his right clicks and only peek when the right click is off. And then you've got the enemy Widow to as a threat as well. So I think Raucus is playing pretty well at the moment.
Do you think we're going to continue to see Houston on this upward trajectory as we had talked about at the beginning of the show?
Yeah, well, so we talked about it. The strength of schedule is definitely favoring the Houston Outlaws going forward. So from here, I think they'll keep racking up the wins. But can they compete with the likes of Philadelphia, Boston, London?
There's 4 spots in the stage playoffs this time, though.
Yeah,
Boston they've already beaten.
There's so many
they've
good
already
teams.
beaten London, so I think they have the possibility to edge out London and be able to make it in that 4th place spot. They could do it.
Yeah, well, this Houston Outlaws team is looking impressive, but we'll have to keep tabs on them moving forward. Looking forward to our next matchup, though, because coming up next, we have the Boston Uprising going up against the London Spitfire in a matchup that's sure going to be very exciting, surely. So, guys, don't go anywhere. Plenty more Overwatch League action coming at you after the break.